You got it on? So to start off with, Dan's first question was, is this going to be very technical? Because I am an engineer. It will not be technical, I promise. So to start off, who's heard of SD-WAN? How many of you could say you know what it actually is? Good, that's a start. A lot of people don't. But it's a evolving technology, right? So what is SD-WAN? So I put this up here to kind of help. It's really going to change networking and infrastructure. It's really kind of like your software as a service. And a great example of a software as a service you guys would hear about 10 years ago, what did you guys use for your CRM to manage your client lists? Spreadsheets, multiple, maybe was it Acton Gold or whatever we had back then. Everybody today in this room is probably on Salesforce of some sort. So that's the revolution of a software as a service. SD-WAN is the exact same thing for networking. You're seeing the point now, I know you guys do a lot of broadband. You sell a lot of Comcast cable. You sell it because your customers call and they say, we need more bandwidth. It's great, easy, we know how to do that. There's going to come to a ceiling, we don't know how much more bandwidth they need or they can afford. What are they using it for? Right, so the SD-WAN is that next piece to help you understand the broadband need, why they're using, and then how to manage it and make sure it still works for your clients. Trends impacting network. You guys will know this one because of your sales, right? The biggest one that I know being from the sales side of the house is your customers in the next 18 months are going to need twice as much bandwidth as they have today. Plain and simple. We talked about applications earlier, Barry did, and how many applications your clients are adding or using to interact with their clients, right? It's engaging the client, engaging the customer. 50% of the CIOs and experts are operating via cloud by 2016. That trend's probably actually going to speed up. I mean, everybody I talk to now is getting rid of the older infrastructure data centers. Nobody wants to own a data center anymore. They're going to go to AWS, they're going to go to Azure, et cetera, to put their stuff in the cloud on the VM stacks. It's cheaper, it's reliable, you don't have to worry about the facilities and the infrastructure. 80% of the traffic is deemed for the internet now. 10 years ago, 5 years ago, everything was deemed for corporate headquarters. You know, software as a service, doing your ERPs, your CRMs, everything is destined for the public internet, especially in large retailers. It's the credit cards. Your credit card traffic will be destined towards the public internet. It's faster, it's easier, and it's just cheaper in the long run when you go at it. So the trends that are translating to network needs, right? The agility, be versatile based on what your clients needs. Visibility and control, knowing what they actually have. 5 years ago, they'd call, tell us we needed more bandwidth. It was pretty easy. We could do that and still keep within budgets. Well, now you're starting to hit that 50, 100, 200 megs infrastructure. IT budgets do not grow as fast as their IT needs do, so now we have to start looking at what's out there. What are they using it for, and how do we improve upon that? Performance. We're adding voice over IP every day. Everybody's putting it on there, but we also mentioned public internet. You have to be able to reliably do that. One or two phones is great. What if you have an office running 50 phones? Can we do that on cable? With an SD-WAN technology, you can. And then operational efficiency. IT budgets do not get larger, they get smaller. Needs grow, applications grow, budgets get smaller. So you have to be lean and mean, so to speak. The WAN transformation. Everybody in here, I'm sure, sold an MPLS network at one point in time or worked on an MPLS network over the years, right? 15, 20 years ago when I started doing this, that was what we did. Hybrid WANs have been, 10 years or so we've been doing that. And that's where you're mixing and matching based on the store size or the client needs. It's not everything at the exact same location. Now we're getting into 2015 and up. You guys are all hearing SD-WAN. You're hearing things from Riverbed. You're hearing things from Vitella, from Velo, all these hardware vendors. What does it mean to be an SD-WAN? It's just the next evolution. You're using the internet, but giving the same service levels as you would on MPLS 15 years ago. This is the only tech slide, I swear, Dan. So what does SD-WAN really do? Right? We do kind of have to give you an idea of what it is. It's based on the same software-defined networking principles that the data centers did when they did their role. So there's always a controller or a network forward. You see there is the orange square. Is that the premise? There's a control layer, whether it's MPLS or internet coming in. It doesn't matter. We can bolt this onto any network your clients have. I don't have to pull everything out to put something new in. It bolts on top of what they have. The control layer then works with the analytics. It decides what's going on. What are we sending? Is there jitter? Is there latency? What's the MOS score going to be calculated at? How far is the round trip? What's the bandwidth? And it's going to take that through the orchestrator is going to look at the control layer and analytics and decide what's the best path or what's the best way. Do we have to do anything to improve this application to make it go across? And it's all done in milliseconds. You don't even know it's there. A great example of kind of what this does for you is we've rolled this out. Earthlinks does sell it. All of our engineering teams have one they take out to you guys for demos. We actually have them bring their IP phone with them. They'll plug into your data network, whatever you guys have at your location. They'll have a 4G card in the side of it that's disabled. It's on for backup only. We'll make a phone call, and as we're talking to you on the cell phone, we will unplug your primary connection. It will not drop that phone call. You'll sound just as clear as it was over 4G without dropping the call. And that's the unique part. It doesn't drop the call. I'll say that a lot to you guys because it's very important for your clients because their applications are not going to drop in the transfer as it goes over. So this box, the SD-WAN, can make a decision live of the best path to take based on the rules that you've given it. Value props, here's the sales piece, right? What's in it for you guys? How do you get your customers to buy this stuff? Uses internet connection, that's the big piece, right? We're not gonna tell you have to buy an MPLS network. You don't have to build a data center. We don't have to do hosts. We don't have to do hubs. All that stuff goes away. What do they have today? Is it enough? Let's see what's going on. The secure VPN tunnels, it's secure. You guys are selling a lot of cable from talking to the team at TCG. We know that's a big hit. Comcast is a great provider for you guys. Secure VPN out of the gate. Everything comes out of there on a VPN. So instead of selling you an unsecure open broadband connection, we're actually able to secure that as well and leverage technology on top of that. Can't read my own writing. Security services, sort of logical points. So you do what's called service chaining. You can actually bundle security onto this without having to add more boxes. That's the piece of the puzzle. We don't want to add 15, 20 boxes to your client's locations. Availability. It's active. It's no longer what's the primary, what's the failover. Am I going to have less bandwidth in the mood of a failover? Is my application still going to work? This can be designed as an active technology. So you can have a cable circuit, maybe a fiber drop, a DSL, whatever your clients can get to their locations, and it will use both connections side by side as it goes along. So you can get more bang for your buck. And we all had the chat about, well, I don't want to pay $200 for a backup circuit because it's a waste of money, I'm not using it. So what if you can use it? Now it's no longer a waste of money. Like I said, both private and public connections. So it doesn't matter what your clients have on site, right? It's really just the design. MPLS, cable, wireless, it's irrelevant. It bolts on top of anything they're doing for your applications. Application priority policies. This is the big piece. Voice is the big one. Video is the other thing we see. My job at Earthlink is really primarily around retail, so I do a lot of credit card discussions. Credit card transactions in any retailer are the priority. You prioritize the traffic that's most important. Guest Wi-Fi is great, internet, right? Perfect, but credit cards are how I make a living. Voice over IP is how if I'm in sales, how I make my living. I need my phone to work. You're prioritizing that traffic like you would on your MPLS network of old. Excuse me. Forward error packet. Technical terms. It means it's actually looking at every single packet back and forth to make sure your quality's staying up there. Because you can't use class of service like you would with MPLS, so it uses different, it's called forward error correction. Business operations linked to the application needs. That's what's important for the company. What do you guys find the most important at that moment in time? And that's how you set it. It doesn't just design its own policies. They're set by your clients on what they need. App usage and analytics. This one goes back into they're buying more bandwidth. They're calling you and saying, I need more bandwidth. I need 50 megs or whatever. I have 10. What are you using it for? I don't know. I get complaints from my clients that it's too slow. We're not doing this, et cetera. You can actually look and see what it's being used for. What's their top sites they're going to? What's the top application usage? How much of that bandwidth is being used by application? Gives your client control over what they're actually doing in their environment so they have true visibility. So now when you go to the CEO as their trusted advisor, we can say, I know you guys are using 50% of your bandwidth is being used on your core applications, and 25% is this. So you do need your increased speed because you're maxed out for this many weeks of the year or whatever. It's a very easy business decision to have with your partners versus, 50 megs costs $200 and maybe get the carrier down to 185. We're going to go a little deeper into the sales discussions with your clients on that stuff. Earthlink's Cloud Core. We put this up here, obviously we're Earthlinks, we put up here. The reason we did this is because we're deploying it differently than anybody else you guys are going to deal with. You're going to go out and you'll hear from Riverbed, Velo Cloud, all those other carriers, and the box vendors. They're going to tell you to buy a box, put one at each end, and that's how it works. We've done is we actually invested and put it in our core network. So that's why we said an application-aware network. So because we sell voice over IP and we do have NNIs to Azure and AWS and we do hosted security and firewalls in the cloud, et cetera, it's important that this is in the cloud as well. Otherwise, it has to traverse the public internet, go through regular contention. If I bring all that traffic directly back to the core network, now we don't have to worry about putting a box inside of the Azure data center. We don't have to go to if you have an IBM customer that's with IBM, we don't have to go to IBM and spend the 2U rack rate that they charge you guys to put a box in that data center. It's all being tied in, so now you can leverage the NNIs without having to spend $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 on a box to put in the data center. SD-WAN overview, kind of the same stuff we've been talking, right? Starts with application visibility. What are we using? Where's it going to go? What's important? Then you get into controls. Now I know what I'm using it for. I know it's important. Now what do I actually want it to do? This is what what's what I'm seeing if we just open it up. Now I'm going to start to control it. and sign it. And then from there, it's called dynamic WAN selection is your next step. And that's when it says I have 2 paths, 3 paths, they're active. What's the best path at this moment in time for this traffic type? So if it's voice over IP, do I go on the MPLS or is it better on the public cable connection at this, literally this instant in time when you're on the phone? It doesn't have to be told, always go to MPLS. And there's an issue, then fail over to the cable. It'll actually look at both connections simultaneously and check your MOS score to see what's the best way to run that voice call for your clients. And in summary, business shift to agile networking using SD-WAN solutions. First thing we put up here, it's a partner event, we understand, is price. Cut your megabits per second cost structure because you don't have to worry about the 200 megs, the 500 megs, the gig fiber at the head ends anymore. You're going to be able to use broadband or leverage the best cost provider you have based on your client's location and still give them the same service levels we did 10 years ago with an MPLS network. Carrier agnostic. Like I said, it doesn't matter what the underlying carrier is, what the underlying circuit type is. The box doesn't care. It just measures it and then does what you tell it to do with it. Analytics around the application. This is the big piece. You're telling, like I said, you're going in, you're telling the CIO, you're telling the CEO, you're talking to the IT directors that they're actually going to know what they're using their bandwidth for. What's applications there? Is there any abuse? You can filter that stuff. Assign the priorities, just like you did MPLS. Excuse me. And then using the internet for private line like performance with application controls. That's the big piece. You're going to get the same level of service, the same application performance out of a broadband circuit or a 4G circuit that you've used to doing in traditional TDM circuits. Quick and short. Questions? Any? None? Well, that's too easy. So everybody understand that now. How many people understand SDN? Oh, go ahead. Nope, anything. Application on us as well, yes. Now, some of the performance ratings, that goes into the design aspect, right? How do we tie back into that switch? Is it a BroadSoft? Is it a Meta? Do I just need to go to public? That's stuff that my team will help figure out for you. But yeah, it doesn't matter whose it is. Yeah, definitely a business application. This is the buying cycle of SD-WAN is a lot like buying your CRM. It's an application development. You're looking at it as a true business enhancement tool versus just a commodity that, to Ron's point, we've all been setting this race to zero in a commodity-based sales cycle. It's absolutely turning the wheels with all the customers that we're talking about now. We're having much different discussions. We're having business level, C-level discussions on what we're going to do, what the investments are, what's the ROI. They're planning it a lot more like they would if they're out purchasing a new ERP or CRM. I got more technical slides if you want, Dan. I can keep going. That's it. Let you guys go back to it. Thank you.